question.
All right. Welcome to paraglidingtalk.com. I'm your host, Robert Michaels. Glad you're here. I'm excited about tonight's show. We've got a great one lined up. Brad Gunnuscio is with us tonight. We are going to have a blast. He's actually on the deck right there in front of one of the most amazing flying sites in the world. Point of the Mountain. You want to check that out. There's a website, link in the description. You want to check out Brad Gunnuscio's website for SIV. It's sivclinic.com. I don't know how you secured that. A great website, but amazing. Great deal there. I want to fire this thing off this evening by saying, first of all, thanks to all the moderators. Anthony Peregringo's with us tonight. Craig Taylor's with us. Sean Nafsker's in moderation as well. So appreciate you guys and what you do for the show. I want to mention a few sponsors real quick before we get this thing fired off. Also, if you're in the chat and you're chilling and you're just hanging out and you're not chatting, I want to encourage you just to at least say something, and Sean will put your name in the spinning wheel of Winnie Things. So glad you're here. People are starting to log in now. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This show is brought to you by ppgzone.com. Josh Perry has a great thing going for paramotor and free flight people. I throw that in because I'm a free flight guy with the paramotor. They have all kinds of great resources on there. And I think soon they're going to have like a yard sale, paragliding yard sale stuff. So you're going to want to go check that out. Again, the website is ppgzone.com, but it's more than that. It's a social media platform. He's literally designed it to be an alternative platform. It's really awesome. So create an account, and then you can go in there and just troll everybody's posts. It's great fun. Also, the show is brought to you by MidwestParajet.com. MidwestParajet.com is the website you want to check out if you want to get involved in flying some paramotors. Pretty awesome guys over there at Midwest. And stay tuned. They're going to be we're going to be setting up a show for them to come back again. Steve Reed and a couple of the other guys. We're excited about that. Also, the show is brought to you by ppgsmoke.com. Want to talk about giant giveaways. PPG Smoke is going to, on this show, coming very soon, and I'm going to announce when we're going to do it. We're going to give away a motor on the show. Can you believe that? So really exciting about that. That's coming soon. The website is ppgsmoke.com. How do you get your name on that list to be able to potentially win a paramotor? Just the engine. There's actually going to be 2 of those given away. And the first one, if you want to get involved in the first giveaway, you need to pre-buy the Unity headset. So go check out his website, pre-buy the Unity headset for paramotoring, and then you will be all set. And your name will go into the spinny wheel of Winnie Things, and you can win a motor. Unbelievable. We're talking like $3,000 worth of engine. You need that. You need that in your life. Show is also brought to you by paramotorprops.com. You blow up a prop when you're out flying, you can get online, use your phone, buy a new one quickly, and it will be cheap too. Check out their website, paramotorprops.com. Also, if you want to protect your gear, paraorangeproducts.com is a sponsor of the show. They were our first sponsor. Go check out their website, paraorange.com or paraorangeproducts.com. Either way, same great people, Larry and the Bag Lady. They got all kinds of great stuff for you. Go check out their website today. Thank you all as sponsors. Really appreciate you guys. So let's fire this thing off. Brad, thank you so much for joining us. I know you work harder than probably anybody in this sport between the SIV clinics, the training, the just the ground school, all that you do. I really appreciate what you bring to the table. And thank you for making time for the show and coming to join us tonight. So I'm really grateful that you're here.
My pleasure.
We're going to fire
for having me.
Yeah, man. Let's fire it off by talking about, since we're in the month of May Day. Let's talk about reserves, and one of my favorite people to have a discussion on reserves and reserve tossing is Bradley. Brad, tell us, how many times have you been at a competition and seen guys throwing reserves? And then talk about your own experiences with throwing reserves in the wild of nature.
It's too many to count, the competitions.
Oh, really?
How many times I've seen it. Oh, yeah. It happens all the time. I mean, we were at a comp once and there were 16 reserve throws
Oh
in the
my.
comp. And
And
so it can happen. It was really strong conditions. Yeah, 16 out of 16 people, just so you know, are fine.
wow.
And so there's been, it's hard to count how many times I've seen that.
What is that, like a
And
3-day competition?
no, no, they're
More
usually like a
a
week.
week? Oh, okay.
Yeah, and so there'll be sometimes there's not a lot, and sometimes there's a lot. That happens. People are pushing a lot more speed bar than they normally do, and trying to fly fast through conditions they normally wouldn't be flying fast through, and stuff like that. So it can happen. And the thing is the reserves work. I've yet to hear of, so and so through their reserve and then they died.
Right.
I haven't heard that. I haven't heard a story of that. And so, they work, and so we got to trust them. And I think we're just waiting way too long, and people are getting G'd out and stuff like that. And so, if you've already lost your wing and you're out of control and you've already done one full fast rotation, it's time to get it out. And definitely by the second rotation, come on, what are we doing at this point? We're losing a lot of altitude, and I'm just worried about people getting G'd out.
Yeah, maybe break that down a little bit for somebody that doesn't really understand what that is or has never been in a situation like that. Talk
Okay.
about that. We're talking about milliseconds. Like we're splitting hairs when we're talking about the decision to throw or not throw, when you're G'd up, what happens when you get into that zone.
I'm talking about if you lose control of your wing and you feel
Yeah.
the G's pick up and it's whipped around, and I mean, it could be riser twist. You could be doing a cravat sat. You could be in a nose down spiral, whatever. It's not good. I don't care what altitude you're at. We should throw. People are trying to fix them way too long. And they don't realize that when your glider gets into a spiral, you're burning up altitude fast and you're coming down quick. And so I think pilots get into, I'm at 3,000 feet. It takes me 10 minutes to float down. And they don't realize how fast they're coming down when they're out of control. I've been at my training and told someone to throw over and over, and it'll be like 13 times one time, a gentleman asking him to throw, and he wouldn't throw. And he finally threw as he's hitting the water. And it's like, why didn't you throw? And it's always the same answer every time I ask these people. I didn't realize how fast I was coming down or how low I was. So a key thing is looking down and checking our TC. I'm always check your TC. It stands for terrain clearance or trauma center. You decide.
Nice.
Pick which one.
I like that.
Is it check your TC? So make sure to look down because we eat up the altitude fast. And so, I just want pilots to be more proactive at that, as well as not trying to fix it when we're out of control, whipping around, getting tons of G's. I mean, your wing can break, you can black out, all this kind of stuff. It's just time to throw the reserve and just realize it's not as big of a deal as people make it out to be. And it's not something to be ashamed of. And it's a celebration of life. And we all make mistakes and stuff happens. You throw your reserve, you repack it, and you go again. You go hang out with your buddies and you go again. And so I've thrown 8 times needing it. My dad was a hang glider pilot in the 70s. And so when I started flying, he gave me no boundaries or set no parameters for me. And I was out there just a kid, kind of out of control. And I would tie my wing up and I'm like, man, no one ever taught me to throw my reserve, and I'm glad I had the wherewithal to throw it, because it works.
Oh, yeah. Kent Stamey just donated $10 to the super chat. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that contribution to the show. So we talk a little bit about waiting too long. I was going to message my friend Carl. He's actually, if you guys don't know Carl in Colorado on YouTube, I'm going to share this video for just a second. And some of you've probably already seen it, but I asked Brad if he would kind of just give his 2 cents on this. And I know he's already, he's friends with Carl, and I know Carl's cool with this. And he's such a good guy. You guys might not know, he actually designed the logo for paraglidingtalk.com.
Oh, that's
Carl,
awesome.
Carl in Colorado. Yeah, he was the one. He was one of the guys that helped me create the show, actually. But he's not a limelight guy. He doesn't like to be in the spotlight. So low key, he's just in the shadows doing stuff for the flying community. Can you believe that? Let me switch here. I'm gonna do a screen share here. Let's go here. Oh, that's not the right one. There it is. Share, and we're gonna go full screen. And
Oh man,
I'm
this
gonna,
was scary.
yeah, I'm gonna. You know what I forgot to do before I do this? Let me optimize this before I share. I want to. Should I share sound? No, I think I'm gonna keep it quiet. I can't remember what he says in here because it is terrifying. Okay, here we go. So he dials one up here, and I'll go right from the beginning where you can see the collapse. Um, you guys should all be able to see it. We're not sure exactly what was going on with uh, the instant that he took the collapse, but we're not going to talk about that right now. What I want to discuss is you can see he is falling out of the sky incredibly fast. And so
Yeah,
we're gonna go from the time that he uh, was looked about 1,000 feet to the ground was 10 seconds, 11 seconds, 12. Where was it? Here we go. I mean, he's touching treetops at 20 seconds.
that
So
shit happens fast, doesn't it?
yeah, I'm gonna just let this play a few times. Tell me what your thoughts are, and what can we
What I'm
learn from
seeing
this?
is a lot of deep brake inputs and stalling the wing, not letting the glider fly, not letting it get to airspeed. I'm also seeing a pilot that, he glanced down. He should have thrown right there. He had the where. He knew he's coming in. He should have thrown in the beginning, in my opinion. We shouldn't be waiting that 300 feet. You know, USPA says 300. I'm traumatized. I've seen slow openings, the reserve hit the wing, entanglements, things like this. So I would recommend throwing higher than lower. And I see that, I'm seeing, look how deep his hand was right there. He like stalled it. Then he's stalling. He has almost a perfect tail slide, right there, but he should be, and he should be throwing. And when we get in a stall configuration like that, people are afraid to let go of the brakes to throw your reserve right there
Ooh, good
because of
point.
the surge. They're afraid of that surge. And so that one was a clear one where his hand was already down by his reserve handle. Why not keep the brake in your hand and just throw right there? You're already stalled. What's a little more stall going to do? You know what I mean?
Good
So right
point.
there, it would have been good for him just to throw because he didn't want to let go, because he didn't want it to surge, go into a spiral. So he was afraid to do it, to let go. And so right there, when he flat spun it, he starts controlling, and look, his hands are all over the place. And, if we went hands up, it was going to recover. But at that point, he should have been hucking anyway. He's already stalled his wing. He's too low. When people come to their first full stall in an SIV course, they usually lose a couple thousand feet on your first one. You know what I
Yep.
mean? And you see it's pretty high there. But I just keep seeing flailing and really deep brake inputs. And he's trying to fly this stall thing. He needed to just let it fly. And right in the beginning, but I think right there he should have just hucked right when he stalled it. Because
That's
and he should go buy a lottery ticket.
yeah.
Right after, go get a lottery ticket, because his shoulder was right up next to that tree.
Right.
And so we actually used this, and I've showed it at a couple classes and
You have.
analyzed that. Yeah,
I really
looking at it.
appreciate Carl posting that, because some guys they're going to be hesitant to share that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
I
we
can
got to learn.
sympathize. Yeah, I had my Cascade video, and I said, you know what, I'm going to learn from this, and I'm going to try to take this to other people. I posted on YouTube. It's got like 150,000 views, and I still get comments on a regular basis. But it's you can really learn from your mistakes if you'll not be too prideful to share them. You mentioned throwing the reserve out. I've seen a bunch of videos where guys throw out a brick, and they have to literally yank on the lines to get it to pop out of the bag or whatever it is. And sometimes that could cost you some precious altitude. Dilling
God.
around, so throwing high is a good option.
Oh man, I see lots of problems all the time. You know, I make everybody at my class. I want to see that laundry, and I want to see it come out of there. And sometimes we'll have 7 or 8 major malfunctions out of the group, out of 8 or 9. Sometimes it's almost 100%. My first course, we had 5 major malfunctions. My first course of the season, I was like, holy cow, you guys are flying like this. And I keep catching them. You know, the schools are getting better. And like today's class, we had no major malfunction. The last class, no major, but sometimes it'll be a lot of them, you know, and it's just too many. But I'm always telling people, don't trust me, don't trust a school. You need to learn your safety equipment, and you need to be checking it yourself, and you need to know, because it's your life that's on the line. And we need to know. People always take their harness in and let a school load it all up, and they don't know how. What happens if they get their pins pulled accidentally? They don't even know how to reload it in there.
Right.
And it's really important. To little details can cause it to lock up. Where you attach the bag is important. You got to be super detailed on the stuff. And that's something I go through with everybody at my class, and just make sure, like, I want you to know, and here's the do's and don'ts.
Yeah, that is
You know,
so good. That is such great information, man. We, as pilot, I mean, we are literally pilots of aircraft. You would never go and fly an airplane without checking how much fuel you got. Check your oil. You're gonna the dipstick. You're gonna go
the
around the wing.
maintenance.
Yeah, and not understand it. If you don't understand an airplane, you're not going to be a pilot. I feel the same way, man. When taking your reserve and throwing it out standing on the ground and letting it puff up at Torrey Pines and getting a repack done, understanding the repack, take it inside. Yeah, that's great information.
Yeah, well, and you know, sometimes I have people and I have them throw in my kitchen, and sometimes people can get it out here in my kitchen, but under duress and out of control, they can't get them out of their harness, you know. And I don't like the trend of some of these harnesses. They're going with a really small compartment for your reserve, where it's really tight
Yeah.
in there, where you have to have a smaller reserve. It's just crazy. And so everyone goes to a harness when they pick it, and they're like, oh, this is comfortable. Like, this is the most comfortable harness ever. It's like, that's not the first place you start, is how comfortable it is. You should start at your reserve compartments and make
Yeah.
sure it's a good one and a simple one. We need it like a Bombay door. When the thing opens up, you can't keep it in there.
Yeah.
These little envelope things where you're stuffing and cramming a reserve in there. How are you supposed to get that out when you got 4 Gs hitting you?
Right.
How the hell are you going to get that out of there? You know?
Yep.
And so that's why, and I just don't understand either how the world's best pilots are all flying with 2. And we go to these cross country comps and they're flying with 2, and you got professionals, you know, cross country pilots, acro pilots are all flying with 2. And I mean, I was camped with Horatio Lawrence, who's world champion, and he had
Yeah.
3. He was like, I got one for every situation,
No
you
kidding.
know. And I've been known to fly with 3.
No
You
kidding.
know, I'm
So
like, all you
one on each side.
need is once in your life is to throw one and have it all tangled up in your wing, and not have another, and you'll never do it again, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering why all these pros have 2, and you got low airtime, low experience pilots having 1, and it makes no sense. And so you can turn any harness, as long as it's an integrated harness and you have one under the seat, you can get a front mount, and they got pretty nice flight decks that are a front mount. And I think that's a great idea. And if you're doing a hike and fly or it's mellow, then just go with 1, but have the options, especially when people need ballast. I've been on launch and people have 1 reserve, but they're they're like, I need ballast, so they're picking up rocks on launch to
Yeah, yeah,
ballast up their harness.
yeah,
And I'm
yeah,
like, so you're going to get something that could hurt you as ballast instead of having ballast that could save your life. It's a little ridiculous, you know. And so I like the idea of two. I just always get a harness that has two, a left and a right. You know, I wouldn't get a harness that doesn't. For me, I think they need to make more of them to have the option. You can always load one in and have the other one empty, something like that. You know.
yeah. That's amazing. I do want to bring this up. And by the way, Crazy Uncle Bob donated $5 to the super chat. Thank you, sir. With the choices of reserves, let's talk a little bit about paramotor choice. A lot of guys, I'll give you my example. I've got a Parajet, and my reserve is down to the right for me.
Yeah.
When we're got a left-hand throttle, you've got you want to be able to use your dominant hand to throw the reserve, so it's on that right hand side.
Yeah.
Some guys like to fly with the front mount. Talk a little bit about what your I'd like to hear your input on choice. Let's talk a
Yeah.
little bit about size and choice.
Well, the reserves have gotten a lot better to where we don't need to go one size bigger. It's kind of dangerous to start doing these super huge reserves on people, because at some point you're going to have to manage this thing in the ground, on the ground. And if there's wind, managing this big reserve on the ground is hard to do, you know. And so people flying with tandem wing, tandem reserves, or, you know, this is a lightweight one. A lot of instructors are going, it's lightweight. To make you come down slower, we're going to go two sizes bigger. And now you're going to have to manage all this reserve once you land on the ground. And you can type in like a Russian paratrooper on YouTube and see the guy getting dragged forever and see what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Guy gets dragged for like 4 minutes and it's a round type thing. And it's like, you don't want to be that guy.
Yeah.
You know, so I like to be in the weight range of them. They're good enough. We should be in the weight range of them. If you get a good reserve, you know. And so as far as on the front mount, I have mine on there on the side as well, but I feel like it would be awkward with the comfort bars to get it out. So I've decided that I haven't motored much in the last year, but when I get back, I'm gonna take it off the side and just do a front mount, because I love the front, because you can throw it the left, you can throw it the right, you can see it easier. You have more leverage for pulling. With the comfort bars, I just feel like it's really awkward for me.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's one right answer on that. It's what's best for you. We just want to make sure that it's like we're Billy the Kid in a gunfight when we go for that handle, that we can get to it fast.
Oh yeah, I like that analogy. Get that thing quick, and hopefully it's all greased up, ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, exactly. And check those metal pins, especially when you're in salt. Those metal pins get all corroded, and that's what locks them in. Be checking your pins, pulling the pins. We need to more often pull these things out and check them out. And even on the free flight harnesses, it doesn't matter, motor, free flight, whatever. Let's pull them and pull the bridles, you know, freshen up all your Velcro, freshen up your zippers, all this kind of stuff, you know. Sometimes there's so much Velcro on it, a pilot will be coming down sideways because the Velcro won't open up because it hasn't been open in 5 years or something, and it's all matted up.
Yeah.
You know, and you can't peel out very good landing on your hip.
Yeesh, yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Yankee Paramotor donated $10 to the super chat. He said, "Fuel for Robert's Parajet." Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. I didn't know you had a motor. What are you flying?
Oh yeah, I used to be. So I have a Walker jet.
Okay.
And then I have a flat top.
Nice.
Yeah.
How you like the flat top?
I used to be the test pilot for those motors, and so I would just break them over and over, take them out, and I could just drag them through the water and infinite death spirals and just breaking mufflers off and just making it. So I helped make the flat top as strong as it is. Yeah.
Oh, that is awesome.
And
yeah,
so
they're a little heavy, but they're pretty stout.
Oh, they got a lot of power, you know, and I like the power. But I'm open to any motor flying. I just like a lot of power.
Yeah. Well, you're a pretty stout guy, so
get my big ass off the ground.
Yeah. Yep. That's rad, man. I didn't even know. I should have known. I guess we never had that conversation, or maybe we did and I forgot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's let's talk a little bit about and we've done a whole show on reserve. So go back. I think it was episode 128. Go back and watch that episode, and you'll learn a bunch about reserves and reserves toss. By the way, this show is brought to you by American Allied Drains and Plumbing. This is our first real sponsor. If you're in the San Diego area and you're in need of plumbing, American Allied Drains and Plumbing is your company. If you mention Paragliding Talk at the checkout, or when you're getting ready to pay your bill, you get a 10% discount on your services. If you want to get a hold of those guys, phone number is 844-777-9055. Also, the show is brought to you by Nebraska PPG. Josh Bowden, he has a school in Nebraska, and if you're interested in getting some top-notch training, and this guy, he's really fun. You're gonna have a blast. Josh Bowden, he also knows how to be serious and train you, and he's very, very patient. And so this is a great guy to get some training. Josh Bowden, there's a link in the description if you want to get a hold of him through Facebook. So pretty awesome. Glad to see some familiar faces in the chat. You guys are pretty awesome. Flying Flamingo Jade, welcome. Never trust a skinny chef Shane in the chat. Just want to give you guys a little shout out. You guys show up every week. In just a few seconds here, we're going to spin the wheel to do a giveaway. And tonight we're actually going to be giving away it's a strobe system from PPG Smoke.
Ooh, good stuff.
Yeah, strobe system. So pretty cool. The strobe system was actually donated by a friend of mine who works at Torrey Pines. And he sells the Kangoo motors. And JC, you guys know JC. He's been on the show a couple times, so he wanted me to give them away to you guys. So pretty awesome. If you're ready, Sean, we can dial it up now. Feels like a good place to take a break.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna put his last name in here. Hang on. I want to.
Did you already eat, Brad?
Oh no, we're cooking.
Oh, you're cooking right now.
We
Okay.
got time. We're good. Yeah,
okay,
we're
good. I don't want to hold you back. I bet you it smells good.
No,
in there.
you're fine. We're good.
John Wayne donated.
I was
$10.
wondering if we need to answer some of the questions over here.
Yeah, I've got a handful here that I'm going to dial up here right after this. So that's a great idea. I've got like 8 of them.
You ready, Robert?
Yeah.
Hit that like, y'all. Hit that like, y'all. Brad's an awesome guest. He's sharing some valuable information.
Paraglidingtalk.com. The spin of this wheel tonight, by the way, is brought to you by iFly Indiana powered paragliding. If you're interested in flying paramotors, no better place to get the proper training than iFlyIndiana.com. Kevin and his team will get your feet off the ground. Oh, yeah. Slowing down. There's so many people out there flying right now because the weather is fair enough that they're not all locked in because of snow.
Christopher thought he had it.
Dude, it's going to be really close. Yankee paramotor. Yep. Yankee paramotor. Winner, chicken dinner. Yankee has won so many things. You know what? Watch. I bet you money he's going to go, I already got one. Give it away or something. Watch.
I already know. I just got done spinning.
That dude is lucky, man. Winning.
Hey.
Oh yeah.
I'm just waiting to see him.
He's got skills. He's got some wheel skills.
Hey, Brad Riles is in the chat. What's up, Brad? Brad used to work with me at the air conditioning spot and go to my church. That's rad.
JP Tulo, he was right after you.
I saw that.
And he goes, "You got to be kidding me."
Yeah, he probably threw his computer in the air.
I figured he was going to be mad. He's like, this thing is rigged.
He said, "See, you got to donate." Oh, that's so funny. Let's go on over this. Let's go over to these questions. There was some really good ones. I'm gonna go in order. Nick Griffith asked, "What is Brad's current go-to wing?"
That depends on what is he talking about.
I'm going to ask for my personal, your backyard wing.
My backyard wing. I've been flying the Air G Sophie because it's 24 meters.
Okay.
I can get up easy with it, and it's pretty fun. It's a friendly wing, but I'd way rather fly my Thriller if it gets windy than I fly my Thriller if it's stronger, because they're 22 and 20. Yeah.
Okay.
U-turn Thriller. Yeah.
You still launch from the backyard?
Oh yeah.
And
I just land on my house and kite around.
Did you make the helipad on the roof?
Yeah, we got the helipad and I land on it.
Does it say P?
But it's harder to land on than the roof is. So it's easy. I'll just come in and land on the roof because of the angle and stuff with the wind.
Yeah.
So yeah.
You guys don't, I mean, if you don't know Brad, his house is on the hill. And if you don't know Point of the Mountain, go look it up. It's in Utah. And his house is right there. He can literally launch and then be on the ridge and then boost up and then go back. And he can do a cross country from literally walking out his back door. Brad, you have to make a video of just walking outside, throwing your wing and just going for an adventure.
I need to make one. But if you type in backyard paragliding on YouTube, the local news came out and did an episode about it, like a 3 or 4 minute segment.
Nice.
I took Anchorman flying and stuff. Took him up until he got scared too high, and he's like, "Okay, this is enough. Take me down." But they didn't show that on there.
Yeah.
I call that a field trip. You just leave the house, go flying, come back, land.
Just such a soft landing. Like I had really good landings.
Nice.
And so yeah, that was really fun.
Was there the guy on the ground with the camera? He was
filming. There's GoPros on us and everything.
Nice.
It's pretty good. Yeah, watch it sometime. And I land on my house, my gazebo, and you plan that stuff months in advance. You just hope the weather's going to be good, and it was perfect. So that was fun.
That's rad. Let's go to the next question. Feed through some of this stuff here. Jim CR120 question for Brad. How should a person select an SIV school? What criteria should he use?
Great question. Yeah, that's a tough one. Yeah, great question. You need to ask and like word of mouth. And there's a lot of people that say they do SIV and they just go and tow you up, and then you go and you just basically do stuff on your own. You're not really learning stuff, and that just sounds super scary to me. So make sure they're just really thorough and that there's a class, because it's, there'll be people like, we give the most tows, and it's not about the quantity of tows, it's about the quality of tows and how much you learn, And so we sit, and sometimes in between tows, the talk could be an hour and a half long of ground schooling before we go. I don't like winging it, just sending somebody up and, I'm going to throw some stuff over the radio at you and see how it turns out. People aren't your experiment. And so, we need to go in detail what they should expect and what could go wrong and how to respond and all this kind of stuff. And so depending on the complexity of the maneuvers you're doing, you need to talk about it a lot. So there's a lot of people giving SIVs a bad name. And so I don't even like to call my course an SIV course, because it's something different than what other people are doing. I like to call it a safety course. And so we're going through all aspects of your flying and teaching you as well as how to stop stuff from happening, which is important. It doesn't matter how many SIV courses you've done. If you're taking deflations, losing your wing, you're not going to fly with confidence, and we want you to fly with confidence, And so we want to work on all your gear, how you adjust stuff, how you fly, your decision making, your mental attitude, all this kind of stuff plays into it, So it's like, I would love to get safetycourse.com, but that was already taken.
Oh, no kidding.
People know SIV, that acronym, so that's what we use.
Yep.
But just make sure that you're getting some good schooling, and it doesn't matter who it is. It doesn't matter if it's me or somebody else. Don't do a maneuver you don't feel comfortable with and that you're not excited to do. And don't do a maneuver for somebody else. Make sure you're doing it for yourself. So don't be afraid to say no. You don't have to do what that little voice on the radio tells you to.
That's a really good thought there. I've experienced where somebody was kind of pressuring someone else to try something, and I'm not even going to say what it was, but I was like, whoa, bro, like it's obvious this guy's not interested. And it wasn't the
Yeah.
instructor that was trying to tell him to do it. It was another pilot. And I was thinking in my
Yeah.
mind, like, if he was pressing me, I'd be a little worried. This is not
Yeah. Don't do stuff. Don't do stuff for other people. Do it for yourself. You're
yeah.
doing it because you know that you want to learn from it. You know what to expect. You've practiced it. You've thought about it. You've visualized it. You've seen people do it. Now you want to go do it. And there's a reason why you want to do it. And if you don't want to do it, please don't do it. I always
Yeah.
tell everyone, like, you don't have to do anything in my course you don't want to.
We had a girl go through her wing at SIV, dialing one up to do a sat.
Mm.
And she got hooked in the wing and did the flagpole thing for 1,000 feet, and then but she swam out of her lines and then threw a reserve, and she got away with it. I've got a great video on it. Actually, we need to get her on the show to talk about it. She's probably fine now. That was like a year ago. Maybe she'll
Yeah.
talk about it now. She didn't want to talk about it before.
I've crawled out of my wing a bunch of times.
Have you really? What
Yeah.
can you? I mean, is there something? I mean, you've done it more than once. What do you say is the most important thing about getting out of there?
Go for sunlight. Keep crawling. Just keep taking it and getting it below you till you see sunlight and get a reserve out there. It was pretty stupid of me, just young and teaching myself to infinite tumble and making lots of mistakes and landing in the glider, and I knew that it's a risk you take, doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be that way. I was just pushing it too hard, too fast, needed to slow down. And, the infinite tumble, it comes in time. You don't want to force it. And so, but we shouldn't be landing in our wing.
Yeah, that's terrifying.
Yeah, that's terrifying. And we shouldn't be doing sats before we're ready. And, some places I hear you come and they talk you through a sat, which, I always tell people, because that's always what everyone wants to do, is do a sat, right? It's like, but you don't learn anything. So I tell them, it's like, that's your dessert, that's your reward for doing all the other stuff that's actually going to teach you stuff,
Yep.
I'm like, you know what SAT stands for? And they're like, oh, what? And I'm all, stupid ass trick.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Nice.
The stupid ass trick. And so, but it's fun and I want people to get it, but I want them to learn stuff and evolve to it. And if you're not good at resetting your glider, we shouldn't be satting, you can mess up your sat and end up in some stall variation. You want to be able to reset your wing and go. So it's ridiculous to be satting before you know how to stall.
I was talking to a guy that took an SIV with you years back, and we were talking about resetting a gnarly cravat, let's say, for the sake of the conversation, just a 40%er, and it's just in the lines and it's just doing its thing. And I was like, so what did you learn on how to get out of that? And he brought you up, and he mentioned that you had a strategy to get it out rather than the traditional, we'll just full stall out of it and reset your whole glider. Maybe talk a little bit about that.
Okay, well, you got to watch out for the full stall. I was a kid out here at the point and stalling all the time. People were coming up, you're scaring the shit out of us. And they made me promise I wouldn't stall, but I said under one condition, if I get a cravat, I'm stalling it. And so every time I got a cravat, I'm like, yeah, they can't say anything. I get to stall, so I'd be excited. And about my 20th one, when I stalled it, it actually made the cravat worse and cinched everything up tighter.
Ooh.
And ended with a reserve throw. And I was like, ooh, maybe the stall isn't the first go-to thing. So just be careful with that. It works, but sometimes it can make it worse. You know what I mean? So I tell people to fly the glider and keep it going. And keep your airspeed up, but don't let it take you into a spiral. And then let's work it out, instead of doing a stall where you're losing tons of altitude, And so there's different tools. I'll have people do the stabilo line and do the Baba Ganoush, which, that's a long discussion about that. We don't have enough time for that. And I'll have people spin them out too. But That takes
That's what he said.
training, and you want to be training. You
Yep.
want to be trained in it because it's real easy to turn your glider right into a spiral,
Right.
you know, and so you got to know. And the main thing is fly the wing. The rule, it doesn't matter what scenario we put ourselves in with the paraglider, any incident, whether it's riser twist, cravat, deflations, the goal is the same. Fly the wing first, fix the problem after. That whole steer and then clear.
Yep.
And people are like, steer and then clear, steer and then clear. And that means steer, man. When your wing gets out of control, resist that temptation to fix it and start flying what you got. And I think your most important goal is to keep your airspeed up and keep the wing flying, because that's what's keeping you going, you know?
Yep.
So we got to work on that. We got to train on it. And it's crazy to me that, you know, every other kind of aircraft out there, emergency procedures are the first thing you work on. And in paragliding, people are like, I'm not going to go do SIV. And you got, you know, these legendary pilots being like, oh, SIV is a horrible idea. You just go by feel and you just don't let that stuff happen. It's like, oh, okay. I'm just going to fly like an ostrich and stick your head in the ground and hope that the wolves don't get you. It's like, just figuring this stuff out in the wild over a rocky canyon and stuff just seems crazy to me.
Well, there was
when you can go.
There was a guy that was flying the 777 King. That's a D wing.
Mm-hmm.
And he's coming into land. He takes a big whack, probably 30 or 40%, just cravats right into that. And that's, you know, D wing. They're known for that. And he's coming into land. There's like, he's got about 100 feet. So you know what he does? He steers it, he doesn't get a chance to fix it. He pumps it a couple times, doesn't budge, and he just lands it with the little piece of wing that he had left. And he landed on his feet.
Oh yeah.
So
you won't believe what they will fly with. It is insane. I've seen 2 gliders that are tied into a bow tie, literally line overs and cinching the center up tight, and so it looks like a bow tie. And they just fly like nobody's business and come in and land and get your line overs out. And I've had people land with big cravats too.
Wow.
You know,
yes.
so they will fly. Yeah, steer the wing.
Yeah.
You're sitting there pumping. It's the classic. Someone takes a deflation that's turning you towards the hill. Their weight shift is over there into the deflation. That's turning them into the hill.
Right.
And then they seen a YouTube video. You do a big pump to get it out. And where are they going? They're going right in the hill, and next stop is a hospital.
Yep.
You know?
And you're going to G up before you do
the wing. Yeah, it's like fly the wing, get away from the hill. And usually these, you don't even have to pump. They just fix themselves.
Yep.
They're crazy safe now.
It's a misconception that you took a collapse and now it's like, oh gosh, I have to do something. No, just fly the glider and relax a little bit. Think about it.
Remain calm.
Yeah. New guys, and myself included, I took that big Cascade event. I was overreacting. Hands were going all over the place. Guys were making fun of me. They said I was doing a touchdown dance. And that's not how it works, man. Just because you had pressure there before doesn't mean it's gonna react the same when it's flat or
people kind of don't realize that pressure is airspeed. And when you're pulling on the brakes, you're killing your airspeed. It's a negative input to the glider, and so you're killing your airspeed. You want to build pressure by gaining airspeed, and that's what brings it back. And a lot of people find pressure in the brakes, and then they lose it and it gets mushy, and they build pressure by getting close to stall, and that's not a good thing. Build pressure by letting your wing fly. Get some airspeed in it. Get some energy.
No doubt.
You know, speaking of building pressure, I got a lot of pressure building here. We got another spin of the wheel coming up here, Robert.
Do we really?
Yeah, I got it kept up.
Well, see? Then
they agree too.
You got it. It sounds like we have to.
All right,
let's let it rip.
Yes, sir.
What did Yankee say? Just give it away to someone else?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
Here we go. Now I'll laugh if it's the person after JP.
I kind of want to win this other.
Now what are they winning?
Strobe system.
Ooh, it's another strobe system. Ooh.
Yeah. Ooh. Yep. We've got 2 of them. Remember last week I told you we have to spin the wheel twice.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh. Who's going to be?
Again,
I'd pick 2. I think it. No.
that was close.
I know. I was going to be like, JP's going to be so mad.
Again.
Oh.
Might be DG Tex. It's going to be right on the line.
No, not Walter.
Yeah, no, not Walter. That'll be $100.
Oh,
Texas. Sorry, Walter. I hope you didn't want that. Walter lives in Australia.
Got his heart going a little bit, though. Congratulations, DGTX.
Dina Garceau.
I got to take this call.
I'm sure that will go to good use.
Live call. All right. So, Brad, we had the chat. There was actually a good, quite a few good questions. Brad, I've heard that beginners commonly throw too soon. Thoughts?
What's that mean? Throw too soon?
I guess
Too high?
maybe they
Too
panic
high?
first bump or something and they throw a little early.
I don't think you can ever second guess a reserve throw. I think that's a dangerous way to think and could get people killed. That's the whole thing. Oh, threw too soon. If we start second guessing reserve throws, we're gonna get people hurt. So let's stop doing that.
Yeah.
The pilot obviously felt out of control, wasn't happy, and so they threw it out there. Maybe it could have recovered, maybe not though. Obviously they didn't understand the configuration until they get better training and learn, and maybe it's just an asymmetric deflation would have opened up, who knows. But we can't be saying they threw too soon, many times I've seen on video where, like, I love Raul Rodriguez and the whole SAT team mentality, and if they're at a certain altitude and there's even a quarter riser twist, that thing's coming out. Reserve is coming out, and I love that. And most of the time they would have been fine. Did they go in second guess, like, oh, I shouldn't have thrown that reserve? It's like, no, you don't know. And what could have happened? Let's get that thing out.
Yeah.
And who cares what people think?
And it's fun.
It's fun. I mean, it's not that fun, but I mean,
yeah. It's like another
you're
level.
at the mercy bit, but it is cool when you land. It's such a good sensation when you land, and when you're out of control, and we call it bad kitty because it's like you're getting picked up by the scruff of the neck.
Yeah.
Like a mama cat picks up a kitten.
Yeah.
And it's like the hand of God grabs you from the back, and all of a sudden the airspeed is gone, and it's like you settle under that thing, and you're like, man, this is it's a good feeling to know this is going to work out. This is going to work.
Yeah.
What's
your favorite reserve maker? And then talk about type: apex, round, square, beamer. This was a question from Mark H.
Yeah. So beamers are for advanced pilots only, I think. Okay. And I like beamers, but I don't like them as your only option. They have, they have limitations. I've seen 2 times where pilots got into a midair collision, were tangled up, and the beamer came out, and then they go into a spiral, and both pilots were tangled up, just spinning down in a nose down spiral on a beamer. Yeah, sketchy. And so, I like a beamer. I like to have the option if I'm high. And 19 out of 20 people never even get to the handles.
Really?
The beamer, yeah, they don't even get there. There's so much to do, and we're usually throwing our reserve because we're low. So by the time you get your wing taken care of and stuff, people don't even get to them most of the time. But wow. They work good. But my favorite option is a square and then a beamer. So I like a beamer on my left side because I'm right-handed. So I know if I'm high and have some time, I'll have it on the left. And then I'm quick draw McGraw on the right, and I just have a square. It's like something save me now.
Yep.
And so it's hard to say what my favorite ones. There's some good ones. My rule is if you can take your reserve and stick it in a manila envelope, it's too small. Like some of these that come out, I'm like, holy cow, is this for a small dog, maybe a cat or something? Like these are tiny.
It's
They're like, oh, but I'm in the weight range. I'm like, I just don't believe it.
Right.
Some of these people, when they come in at the water, if they hit the water and under reserve and totally submerge under the water, I'm like, how would that feel on the ground? How would they look?
Right.
You know? And so carry a little more material. Jen is a friend of mine, and he told me, it's like, man, everyone wants light. Everyone wants to go lighter. There's been no technology advancement in the material. The only way to make them lighter is to make them smaller. And if you make them smaller, you're going to come in faster. It's like when it says light, it's usually like light means fast and hard. Just so you know. And if we're throwing our reserve and we're breaking our legs or getting hurt, what are the chances we're going to use it again the next time? We're not. We're going to be like, that hurt.
Yeah.
We should not be having a reserve that we throw and we hurt ourselves with. That's ridiculous.
Great point.
We need to be landing and being like, it's a non-event. We pack up and we go drink beer with our buddies and talk war stories and fly again the next day. You know, we can't be hurting ourselves. So that doesn't mean go, like I said, don't go get a bigger one. But I mean, my go-to right now is the SUP Air Fluid. That's the best descent I've ever seen for a reserve.
Have you had to throw it?
I haven't thrown it, but I've coached a lot of people. It's unbelievable.
Nice.
How soft it is. Yeah. A lot
Comes
of
out
people
quick.
just going up and throw. Comes out quick. They come down soft and gentle. The Gin Yeti is good, but the best descent I've seen is that fluid. And we finally started getting some fluid lights, and the fluid light is really good as well. That's the first light reserve that I'm like, okay, I'm happy with this.
Nice.
And so that fluid light is good. You know, I trust it.
There's another question from Jim CR120. He said, does it make a difference if it's a PPG or free flight pilot looking to do an SIV?
No, I want the motor pilots to come out and do it. I want them to see their wing and get to know their wing. And, you know, they call it the death spiral if they get into a spiral. You know, we call it a Gear 5 fun spiral, and we do it for fun. And so I want to get that idea out of their head, you know, and that it's totally manageable and controllable. You just need to know and get over the shock and awe of it, and then you can totally get out of it. And so, no, I want them to come, and I want them to do deflations. And I'll tell you that the motor wings, and it's an unpopular opinion of mine, but seeing these motor wings, the motor wings are spicier than the normal paraglider. And so I want them to see. I'm not sure what they're trying to do in the paramotoring world, and I don't fly paramotor wings. I just fly normal paragliders. And it's like, man, they're just way more violent. They're harder to control, you know. And these are guys flying them without a motor on, which is going to add another 50 pounds, 60 pounds. And I'm like, wow, that thing is dynamic. And I'm like, let's go back to having fun, guys, and see these paragliders and just how easy they are to do deflations, and they're not freaked out. And I'm not saying it's not controllable either, because they are controllable, the paramotor wings, but they definitely are a little more of a handful, and they take training. And I feel like you get less training in paramotor world. And the things that people say to me all the time is, well, we only fly in smooth conditions. And I'm like, well, how many times have you been in smooth conditions and you're like, it's going to be smooth, and then it gets turbulent, the katabatic flow comes in.
Yeah. And then it's not
like this. So don't give
smooth.
me that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't tell me that, you know, because and then it's not smooth. And so you want to be able to fly your wing in that turbulence just in case, and have an understanding of how it reacts and responds. And the best place to do it, I think, is with a couple reserve chutes, a life jacket, rescue boat down below waiting for you, and a coach on the radio. No safer spot.
Yep.
You know?
So I know Brad, he's a busy guy, one of the hardest working guys in the industry. He's also one of the top pilots that you're ever going to see on this show. And I'm not just saying that to try to, kiss butt or whatever. But I want to say this is the second person that is an incredible pilot that has said the same thing. I know he doesn't watch the show all the time, so he probably doesn't know that we had Matt Minyard on the show. Matt Minyard almost said the same things that you just said about getting into a glider that you're not ready for. Why are you flying that wing? Why are you flying something that is made for competition pilots that have, years and years and hours and hundreds of hours under their belt, but you're going to just jump right into that thinking that, well, I'm going to drive this fast sports car, even though I don't know how to drive.
Yeah.
Maybe talk a little bit more about that.
Well, yeah, and that's part of my job too, is someone will come with that and I'll hope they listen. I'll be like, look, this wing is too hot for you. That doesn't mean you can't fly it in the future. You just need to tone it down right now, fly something more mellow, get the skills, pay the bills, and get them up and get your understanding of wings up and your feeling, and get a wing that's more forgiving. And then later on, when you're ready, come back to that wing. Doesn't mean you have to sell it. You can always come back to it. But my rule is life is short, don't make it shorter.
Yeah.
Don't go out and fly these hot ships. And people will show up and they got a lot of money and they go to buy the top of the line harness and reserves and cutaway system and, hardcore competition acro wing, and then show up and like, teach me how to fly it. And it doesn't work like that. Right. You need to fly A's when you're learning, and then B's, and maybe a couple B's, because the B's it's such a large spectrum, and then go to C's and fly C's for a while. And like I had like 4 C's before I ever went to a D. And like, take your time, getting there. Don't be aggressive, because the pilot that flies with confidence is the pilot that flies further and kicks ass. No doubt. The confident pilot. It's not the one with the hottest wing. Yep. And so remember that. And with the motoring too, it's like, are you gonna be flying doing pylon racing? No. Well, why are you flying this competition motor wing? Because I want to go cross country. That's what every motor pilot said. I want to go somewhere. And a normal paraglider, I can't go anywhere. It's like, we go cross country on paragliders all the time, and we don't have a motor. Yeah. And we're going places. Yeah. So you can't tell me that. Right. Yeah. And I know it's not the popular belief, but I worry about people out there on these things. And I just urge you, paramotor pilots, to take caution with your wing choices, and I wish people would just start getting more on just a normal low MB glider and put motor risers on them. I think that's a great idea. They're so safe, much easier.
This show is brought to you by Lone Star Paramotor. LoneStarParamotor.com is the website. If you're in the Lone Star State of Texas, you can reach out to Ron Turan and his team for world-class training. Also, the show is brought to you by Torrey Pines Glider Port. That was actually Robin that just called me. He runs the Torrey Pines Glider Port. That's Max's father. And they are a sponsor of the show. If you want to get some free flight training, you want to do your P3 training, you can reach out to Max Marion or any of the guys by going to the website flytorrey.com. Also, the show is brought to you by Resurgence PPG. Craig Taylor, take it away.
Resurgence PPG is a 501c3 nonprofit for veterans by veterans. If you have not been impacted by them directly, please try to see what they do. They will not just change your life, but your family and friends as well. Fantastic group of people. And this community is so good to each other with encouragement and support. They are just another avenue to show that. Smile.amazon.com. If you can't give anything directly, you're buying stuff, they'll do it for you. ResurgencePPG.com. I'll put a link in the chat.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I have to run. I
Brad,
got tons of people here looking at me.
Thank you so much, Brad. I really appreciate you coming on the show. Amazing show. We kept it super packed.
That was awesome.
Yeah,
that was
1
great.
hour.
Thank you all so much. Everyone, fly safe.
Yes.
Guys.
Thank you,
Thanks,
guys. Hey, tell everybody over there that I said hello, and hope to see you guys soon, Brad. Thank you again.
Looking forward to it. Take care. Have a good rest of your show.
All right, man.
Bye.
See you, brother.
See it.
Yeah. Well, we're going to go to the after show. Will Fly donate $5 to the super chat. Said Resurgence rocks. Thank you, sir, for your contribution. Paraglidingtalk.com. We're going to go to the after show. If you want to be involved in the after show, you want to jump on, just drop your info, drop your email in the chat, and we will get you set up, send you an invite. If you're one of the Patreon supporters, or you're one of the PayPal supporters, or if you're a super chatter, you can join us. And so jump on, and we always have a great time in the after show. The after show is really where it's at. Great fun. Paraglidingtalk.com. Thank you, Anthony Peregringo, Craig Taylor, Sean Nafsker. Appreciate your what you do. Nick Vasakis just finally got here. He's late to work because he probably just landed. He got to fly the whole time, probably. I got him muted because I don't want to hear it.
Looks like
All right. Well, thank you guys for watching. You guys are awesome. We'll catch you on the next one. If you were a winner of the one of the two prizes, please reach out to me through the website. That it's paraglidingtalk.com is the website, and /contact. And so you can reach out to me there. Paraglidingtalk.com. Final